Let's go ahead and get into the news.
News and notes from around the league.
It was it's so cold out. I was a little slower to the draw there on the button, on the drop. So, all right, let's talk about Rob Gronkowski.
Okay.
What's the latest?
The latest I'm hearing, I believe it was Adam Schefter was reporting that he's likely to miss a couple weeks. Because the MRI revealed that it's a bruise, and apparently nothing's really torn. I don't know because the word strain keeps getting used sometimes. It's hard to really know exactly what is wrong with his knee. What we know is that it's not a season-ending injury, which is great news for the fantasy football and real football.
It's better
community.
news for the real Patriots.
Yes.
It's not the best news for fantasy owners because, okay, so maybe he misses this week. It's not playoff week. Maybe he misses the next week. I would say it's probable. And if he doesn't, then what kind of limitations do you have on him? Is he going to basically – because if he's starting, you're not playing Rob Gronkowski, right?
Correct.
So you can get roped into a bad play.
And so the Patriots are in the playoffs, but they are, I believe, one game in at the number one seed because the Bengals have 2 losses, correct? We should verify that, but I'm pretty sure the Bengals only have 2 losses, so they'd only be 1 game back, which means that the Patriots do need to win.
Aren't the Broncos in that same situation?
Oh yeah,
because
you're right. Yes,
because they
Broncos,
just upset them.
Yeah,
Broncos are 9-2.
In my head,
the Bengals
Broncos
are
have
9-2.
So
and the Patriots are 10-1.
So the Patriots do need to win. It's not they can't just say, okay, we're locked into this seed. They're going to want to have home field advantage, so they will want to win. But they also know, I'm sure, that they can't win in the playoffs and get all the way through the Super Bowl without Gronk. So they have to be smart with this injury and let it be healed before he goes out there if there's further risk of injury.
So I want to put a lot of our tight end waiver wire time into kind of figuring out who Gronk owners need to sign and who would be a good selection for them. Chris Johnson.
Who?
Fractured. Now, see, it's written in here, fractured fibula.
I thought it was his tibia.
Yeah, I heard tibia as well.
Yeah.
So injury for Chris Johnson, reported 6 to 8 weeks, probably not playing another down for the Cardinals this year. Go ahead.
How's Andre Ellington's toe? How's that doing?
He's got turf toe for Andre Ellington. I was setting you up, and then you went and talked about Andre Ellington.
Well, we got to talk about that first.
You got to lead up to it, my man.
So
Andre Ellington, turf toe.
Is that? Can you just play on that?
Not likely. Not Andre Ellington likely. You can play on it. It's a pain tolerance issue. It's often multi-week.
And
so
there's one man left standing in the Arizona Cardinals backfield, and his name has a little tune, and it goes, David Johnson. Oh, yeah.
It's David Johnson. His time has come. Somehow.
Yeah.
You two are enjoying yourselves very much, and you should be, because David Johnson has risen the depth chart on pure skill.
Hey.
He's shown enough skill to merit it, and now he gets it in an even better way because there's nobody behind him.
David Johnson is the number one waiver wire pickup.
Absolutely.
By far this week. David Johnson will start next week for the Cardinals. He will share some time with Stephen Taylor because that's just what's going to happen. You saw some snaps for Stephen Taylor last week, and they're not going to give the rookie all the snaps.
They'll pick somebody up, too. I mean, Kerwin Williams will probably be back on the team in a couple hours.
So that's the latest on Ellington and Chris Johnson. Let's talk about Martellus Bennett. He is practicing, but he hasn't really done much for owners lately. Chris Mortensen reports Peyton Manning isn't expected back anytime soon.
That's weird.
He was wearing a cast for the plantar fascia.
Fasciitis?
Yeah.
And we've talked about this a lot of
around the studio.
What are the Broncos going to do with you have Broncos while they're coming off of 2 big wins. Now he's not being an elite quarterback, but what he has done is not turn the ball over, and because he's athletic and he can get that run game going, and we saw the last 2 weeks the Broncos running game has been fantastic with Hillman 2 weeks ago over 100 yards. C.J. Anderson this last week had a monster game. What do the Broncos do? Because they can't run that offense with Peyton Manning, and Peyton Manning is turning the ball over more than he's throwing touchdowns.
Yeah, and again, it comes back to what we've said on the show before, or at least my opinion on it, which is if you believe that Peyton Manning's struggles were very related to his injuries, then you bring Peyton Manning back and you put him in a position to succeed when he's healthy. If they don't believe it has anything to do with all the injuries, then you're talking about a different situation, and you could see Peyton Manning under the guise of injury kind of not playing the rest of the season.
I think he's injured the rest of the year.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen because Kubiak has his system that he loves to run that has to come under shotgun. I saw a stat this morning. You
mean it has to come under center?
Yeah. Oh, yes, correct. It has to come with the quarterback under center. In Brock Osweiler's 2 games under center, he has more as the starter. He has more snaps under center than all of the games Peyton Manning played combined.
Wow.
That's a different system, and it's the Kubiak system. So
Coobs.
And I believe Peyton will be back, and he'll be their playoff quarterback.
Yeah,
because he's Peyton Manning. And I want to go into the playoffs with the potential for upside versus kind of playing the backup quarterback role. I mean, Osweiler's done fine. And maybe that's all you need. Maybe you need Trent Dilfer with that defense.
Yeah, and that's what I think.
DeMarcus Ware will come back in a few weeks, so we'll see. All right, Jason Cole reports that Danny Amendola is set to return in Week 13 against the Eagles.
Glorious.
So that is very good news for Brady owners, certainly, and for Danny Amendola owners to see him come back. The Patriots are humorous to me. They cut Chris Harper yesterday.
Yeah, get out of here.
Brutal.
After he muffed the punt. So, goodbye.
Sending a message.
We don't need wide receivers here.
Man.
We're the Patriots.
We're good to go.
Everybody's injured, and they've got their rookie they draft. You got a bad play? Get out of here.
Honestly, I think what they said to themselves is, I'd rather start Brandon Bolden on the outside as a kind of jerry-rigged wide receiver than I would Chris Harper when you make a mistake like that. That honestly, if Harper didn't muff that punt, they win the game.
Absolutely. Because
that changed the momentum. They were up 2 scores. It gave them a short field. So, harsh, though, man. Harsh. Colts, Ahmad Bradshaw, season-ending injured reserve for the 3rd consecutive year. Wrist injury, no longer the handcuff for Mr. Frank Gore. And a report came out yesterday saying Frank Gore was beat to hell, I believe.
Beat to crap.
Beat to crap.
Beat
Yeah.
to crap.
So,
and he looks like it. He's running slow, and I think
I was going to say, give me 30 seconds on the Colts backfield.
The Colts backfield right now is not looking too good. The nice thing is you get the workload. They are dedicated to running the ball, especially with Hasselbeck right now, but they're not running it well because Frank Gore is beat to crap, and so he's running like that.
How about a matchup against the #1 run defense in Pittsburgh this week?
And so it's a bad time. I think that as the season goes on, they'll give enough rest to Frank Gore during the week that he'll get back to health. But I don't like his matchup this week. I don't think you need to handcuff him. If you did, it would be
Boom
Heron
back again.
I think you should.
Yeah.
I think you should. We saw Boom Heron have some mighty fine fantasy weeks when he was the main guy last year. Not necessarily because he's the best runner in the world, but he's great in the passing game.
All right, let's get over to the Dolphins. Dan Campbell, also known as Guns Mahoney to Jason. Rishard Matthews fractured multiple ribs this past weekend. He's very unlikely to play this week, which means Devontae Parker's going to have another opportunity. We'll get into Devontae Parker in the waiver section, but he had 10 targets this past week, so you need to be aware of him. And then this is kind of news for the defense owners. I've been recommending the Chiefs. I have the Chiefs as my only defense right now heading into the playoffs and very confident with them. But Justin Houston's down with a sprained PCL now and is going to miss multiple weeks, which is devastating. I mean, he is the pass rush equivalent, the defensive changer.
He's the J.J. Watt.
He's the J.J. Watt, and he's the leading sack. I think he's the sack leader right now, or was before last week.
Yeah,
so
and was last year. That's a huge blow.
He's what changes their secondary to be okay.
Yeah, fantasy defense, especially that when you look at fantasy defenses, I think the number one thing you look for is sacks, the potential to sack, because it's guaranteed points, it causes turnovers, it just leads to everything else. So that's what you look for, and that's gone. So that's a huge blow for your team, Andy. Unless I drop the Rams, which I might do. You can pick them up. They've been stinky. You're probably gonna or people that have the Chiefs.
I'm gonna have to keep my eyes open.
Yeah, and stream week to week because you're gonna have guys like the Miami Dolphins who are playing against Pick Six City in in Matt Schaub this coming week. So you just stream your different options. The waiver wire is really what you're going to need to look at, and that's my favorite segment of the week.